on your first day commuting to your new job, do you remember what happened? Or should I share? So we have it on good authority that on Scott's drive to work that first day, he had a little bit of a road rage incident, and then proceeded to flip the bird at the other driver, who just coincidentally was the colonel of the Mass State Police.
Thank goodness my dad had been in the state police.
So I made a few phone calls. So we started out with a goodwill deficit. So imagine that in your first day on the job, you drive to work. So 40 years, a lot's changed. But what's really cool about this industry is you meet folks from trucking in many different parts of the country. It's a hustler business, and it all kind of started with the same story. Whether it's UPS or us or a little independent contractor, it's somebody who's a doer. So we need doers. That's our culture, and Scott's really exemplified that. So the transition that we've had from all different types of freight at the time, we used to do foodstuffs, business printed matter, printed matter. We do sometimes checks. We do all this.
Vacuum cleaners.
Vacuum cleaners.
Yeah. EDS warehouse and Dedham.
And then military cargo. So. Quite a diverse, in hands-on. That's when stuff was hands-on. It was all kind of local and regional. And then, boy, after a while, we grew all the way to Virginia. Can you imagine that? All the way to Virginia. There was a guy at one of our conferences a few years ago selling some sort of technology. He said, "Well, trucking really hasn't changed in the last 40 years." I had to restrain myself. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? So, we've all had to adapt. And I think, Scott, your greatest quality is a sense of urgency. So we're selling a perishable service, meaning every minute, every hour, right, that capacity diminishes. And the productivity is measured in time as well. So you have to have a sense of urgency. So the fact that you care really is what has kind of continued throughout the whole group. And the fact that you care enough to get people home when they want to be home, right, is a big factor in their in their satisfaction and retention. And caring about the customer, we get the best, probably most succinct compliment we've ever gotten from a customer is our old friend at Raytheon in Andover, Jim, who says, "You guys give a shit more than other people." So you give a shit, and you've always given a shit, Scott. But we appreciate it. You've had to adapt. You hate computers.
There's a place for you at Skelton. They have a card that says
We've seen it. Yeah.
I appreciate the sense of urgency and the dedication. And Scott, up until this point, because you've had to take a lot of phone calls, like on Saturday morning, you've had an excuse to have a really shitty golf swing. but 10 days from now, you will no longer have an excuse to have a shitty golf swing. So congratulations, thank you.
Thank you.
Before I, get too sentimental or whatever, I'll start with a funny story. So it's a Saturday. It's about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm locking up. Right, I'm at Bill Ricketts. It's a Saturday. No one else is here. So I lock the doors. I walk out of the atrium. And it was really windy that day. And it was like a flutter, or I hear something. And I look up on the roof. And there's these 2x6s that are fluttering about 8-10 inches off the roof on this thick plastic. And I'm looking at it and I go, I can't believe it. The wind dies down, it's going to fall down through the atrium. So I go back in, I unlock the doors, I go upstairs, and I go, okay, I gotta get upstairs.
We did the work.
I'll keep that in someone else's fan. So what do? I go, I gotta get up there. So I pop out the window from the second floor, and there was a ladder there. Go up to the second floor, and there was plastic all around, and there was some repairs that had been done with some plaster or whatever. So I pull the wood off, get it all set, go back down. I go to get down, the ladder's gone. So here I am on a Saturday up in Billerica, on the roof, no way to get down. But we still had the old antenna from the radios. Right? So here I am on a Saturday night, probably 10 after 6, scooting down the antenna to get back into the hospital. So that's my funny story.
I really don't know how I feel about this.
You might not have been here for this. Tell the story.
Everything's okay now.
This was
But you know, on a serious note, really, I mean, 40 years. I mean, I can't believe it. To be at the same location, the same company for over 40 years. I mean, like Andrew said, it's surreal for me. I mean, my contemporaries, 5, 6, 7 jobs over that same time span. But like you said, February 1983, I was hired down in the conference room, which is now Frank's office. That was the only conference room we had. Our office back then was just what the driver's lounge was. And my office was, when I was hired that day, and my office was up in the driver's lounge by the stairs coming up from the dock, in a little tiny corner. And that's where my training started with Tom. Now when I applied for the job, right, it said operations assistant. So I go in, I'm hired, I come in the next day, but I'm not really just an operations assistant. I'm an assistant to the president, right? And so you guys all know Tom, right? He's still an imposing figure, right? So now he's my boss. I have a new job. I'm in Billerica. I'm young. I'm like, you know, you better pay attention. So my training began. And, you know, he taught me how to rate, how to route trucks, how to work the dock, basically the whole 9 yards. But more importantly, he instilled in me, as Andrew said, the urgency, the sometimes mandated discipline and focus needed in our business. And that's the way it was. We never let anything go. If we could get something done that day, we did it. You know, sometimes at the end of the day, we loaded the trailer and we're missing 3 skids. We can't get it on the ass, on the tail end. So rather than say, hey, it'll catch the next truck, no. Download it, in the nose, stack it up, take it off the pallets. And we started over. And that's how we roll.
Yep.
Now back then, what do we have? Pad of paper, a phone, a card system, like you said. And I think it was old Motorola radios, right? We had on the straight jobs, which if I remember correctly, right? They really never worked that well. But I can say over the 40 years, right, that as we grew, the money was always reinvested in the equipment. Never had to worry about the condition of a flatbed. We had spongy wood, it was replaced. Right, and in the office, right, I think it was a Wang word processor. Does that sound right? Right? Then we had cell phones, and I think we had satellites and one keyboard communication, right?
in the corner.
One in the corner.
Right, remember that?
Rail
Right in the corner. And so the takeaways, the money always went back into the company, and that always made me feel proud. Now, proud. When I look back, you know, what made me feel really proud about being with Boyle? You know, the first thing obviously is 2020 December, right? Watching those trucks roll out of Pleasant Prairie, on live TV, right? And all my friends saying, those are your trucks, I can't freaking believe it. I'm like, why not? They say, right? What are you saying that for? You call me because you don't believe it? They always be there. Now, on a side note, you know, the UPS dummy trailer, we really don't appreciate that. Another thing that really sticks out in my head is 9/11. Like that Monday, we're in the office, and you know, on a Monday, right, all the trucks are full. We're coming off the weekend. We have probably 35 or 38 units rolling to deliver. You know, the attack hits that afternoon. All our trucks are called in. We're done. So, you know, on a business side, all of a sudden we got X amount of employees not working, all that freight loaded. What are we going to do? Week and a half later, maybe 2 weeks later, we went out and released another 100 vehicles, 100 trailers. Mike Lasko, you love this. Hours of service rules were lifted. Okay? And we rolled 24/7. Right? We knocked it out of the park. And that was, you know, those 2 moments were really, for me, really significant. Now, when I leave, you know, what am I going to miss the most? The camaraderie and friendships, you know, that have grown over the years at Boyle. And for me, of course, you know, we love the action, right? The daily challenges, that's what's inherent in that business. But mostly for me, you know, I'm gonna miss that feeling of that I'm home every time I walk through that front door. So it's been a pleasure to work with y'all, and thank you.